Hello, everyone. And we are back. We got Beth Crane, we've got Jill Faber, we got Justin Faber as well. And guys, I am just so no, it's not Justin Faber. Now you got me confused. Well, Justin Gordon. Oh, goodness. We because you guys are brother and sister, right?
In-law.
In-law. Okay, that's where there it is. Confusion. So I got you all on because you all have done incredible during this 2590 challenge, and the 2590 challenge was obviously focused on helping people increase revenue by 25% over every 90-day period. So every 90 days, we want you to increase your revenue by 25% over the course of a full year. That's 144% growth. That's the goal. So what I want to know first is where you're currently at, because we're not even at the 90-day mark yet. But then I want to dive into like, how did you guys get there? What did you guys do specifically? Because you all are running your business very well. You're very, very committed. You're very smart. I love listening to you guys talk. So you guys are just fantastic operators. So I want to hear about what you guys have done. So let's start with the numbers. Beth, you still have time. We still have, what is it? What's today? The 17th? We got 13 days until the full 90. What's your percentage of growth so far?
So our monthly revenue over where we started in August is tracking up in like around the low 30s right now.
Low 30% increase?
Yep.
Fantastic. Where do you think you'll end the November month? You think you'll be at 40%?
I don't know, but we're pushing all the way. We've got some great Black Friday specials coming on. Possible.
Okay, awesome. Well, look, 30% every 3 months is fantastic. That's fantastic. So, Justin, Jill, you guys run your businesses together. You have how many locations? And Beth, by the way, really quick, Beth, you have 2 locations as well, right?
Yes.
2. And then Justin and Jill, you guys have 2 locations?
Correct.
So where are you guys tracking so far? What's your percentage of growth?
Yeah, so I'll take that one. At our Woodbury location on the east side of town, we were 140% up in the first 30 days compared to August. So September month over month compared to August, 140% up. The month of so clearly we kind of overshot the target a little bit. And then the month of October was a little bit slower, but we were still up 75%. So the average net so far, we're up over 100% compared to August, kind of the baseline month. Our White Bear location kind of lagged a little bit. We actually had a higher baseline month in the month of August there. So that one has been relatively flat for the past 2 months. So we'll just concentrate on talking about our Woodbury one today.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, here's the thing. During this time, most people are hoping to get to flat, right? So if you have any growth during this time, that's exciting, right? 5% growth is exciting. Beth, you're 6 times what we consider exciting, right? And then you guys are at 140% for one of them, and you've leveled out with the other. I think that's fantastic. So what I want to know is, what are you guys doing that's allowing you guys to be so much more successful than the average business in this industry during this crazy, crazy time? So Beth, what's one thing, maybe 2 things that you think you are really focused on, you're more dialed in on than you've probably ever been over the last 3 months?
So our biggest constraint, so we're a reformer Pilates studio, so we have exact numbers of equipment in class. And with the capacities and social distancing, we had to put about a third of our equipment in storage when we reopened to be able to space the studio. So the only other way to increase capacity is to hire and train more instructors and add more classes to the schedule. So right now we are running almost 60 classes a week in our reformer studio, which is about 10 more than we had when we closed in March. Now we're still not back to the number of spots every week, but we're filling what we have by about 90% every week. So we're we're booking at capacity, and then we have some no-shows. So that's one thing, is just increasing talent, adding classes, trying to find weird times of the day that people want to come, and then giving them that option, and they're taking it right now. And then our big win that really pushed us over the edge in that first month was retail. We've always had a very strong retail business between fitness apparel and then a little bit of supplements, and then being a Pilates studio, our toe socks are a huge part of our retail sales. I just pulled this. Last year, we averaged, I always look at my business as like, how many dollars am I getting every time you know, um, just for simplicity's sake, a 10 class card, even though we want people to be on auto pay, I'm getting $22.50 every time they come to class. So my goal was to increase that average dollars per visit a lot this year. For 2019 in total, we got an extra $3 per every visit we had all year. And in 2020, we're tracking at $6 extra per visit. So even though I have less spots in class and less people coming through and less members, we're getting more extra sales out of every member, and that's really helped.
So for everyone watching and listening right now, I hope one thing you caught on to was that she's really dialed into her numbers, which is what professionals do. It's one thing I really love about Beth and a lot of the people in the team program is they look at their business as a business, not this gym where we can come work out and maybe along the way we make some cool money. If not, then we'll find some people to blame for it, right? So you look at your business with numbers, and that's an incredible way to do it. So you just wanted to raise your dollar per visit from, you said 16 to 20. Is that what you wanted to get to?
No, I don't have my like total average. I look at the plus. So like my dollars per class based on auto pay or class packages is a set number. So I want to get, last year we were at an extra $3 every time someone walked in, which is like the equivalent of everyone buying one water bottle. But this year we're tracking at plus $6. So every time, if you come to class, 4 times a week, somehow I'm getting an extra $24 out of you every week.
And that's with retail. That's with maybe supplements or water of some sort, right?
Yeah,
from the shop.
It's mostly clothing-based retail.
Yeah. And you're really big on that. We had Hey Jin on the show, and then afterwards I talked with you, and you had done some stuff like that as well. So with retail, what do your retail numbers look like currently? Because you got a really nice shop. I've been there. You're out in Texas. Were you in Houston? Is that where you were?
You just froze a little bit. What was your last question?
Oh, I said you were out. Was it Houston? Is that where you're at?
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Jill, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yes.
Okay. Beth froze. So let's take it to you guys in the meantime, okay? Really quick. So Justin and Jill, you guys are based out in where? Minnesota, right?
We're in Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, Twin Cities area.
Okay, great. So talk to me about the one thing that you guys have done, because to go from 0 to 140% growth, right? So what have you guys done in order to really get there? What's the number one focus for you guys?
Yeah, I'll take this one. You cool with that? All right. So I would say, so Justin and I have been in business together for 7 years at our Whiteberry location, 6 years at our Woodbury location, and we've seen these peaks and valleys often. It's just par for the course. I think really the one thing that I attribute it to is adaptability and continually investing in not only ourselves, but the biggest change that we've made from August to September, actually before that, but was investing in our team and recognizing that Justin and I, while we have all this knowledge in our head, we can be so much more effective if we have a team of people who's starting to look at the business the same way that we do. So that's been the biggest change. We brought on a team, we brought on a sales role. We've been working with Eric Charles Russell for a long time. And then we finally decided to pull the trigger and jump the gun with LRVT team. And that has been the big shift for us, where we really, really are focused on not only just building on our sales role, but our entire staff and everybody around it. So this whole, we created, or our team themselves, we're looking for different opportunities and different ideas as far as how do we bring more people in. We can't have events. We are at 25% capacity right now in Minnesota. So very, very restricted capacity in our studios. So our team started looking, okay, how do we bring more people into the studio without actually having them take spots from our current members? And so they said, well, we can't really, there's no events going on, so why don't we create an event? So they created this really amazing grand opening open house that was piggybacking off of another, farmer's market that was across the street. They said, hey, there's a lot of people, a lot of traffic happening on Sunday, a day that we're typically closed for our studio. And they said, well, how can we draw some of that traffic over here, and how can we possibly get them into our studio and convert them into paying members? So with our guidance and with LRVT team kind of teaching us leadership along the way, I think that's really been the big shift, is relying on our team and allowing them and empowering them to start making decisions and coming up with ideas that can help revenue generating activities for the studio.
It only took 2 months of me following up with you guys on Voxer to get you to join. I'm glad we made it happen. And Justice just said, wow, shout out Minnesota, incredible. What's being said about investing in your team? Absolutely spot on. So I love that. And Justice has a wonderful profile picture we're going to also acknowledge as well for his YouTube. Okay, so let's take it really quick back to Beth, because Beth, we had gotten disconnected. And so Beth, are you there with us?
It just froze. Oh, wait, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
It's okay.
2020.
Hey, we're gonna get it done. I know 2020. What else would you expect? Perfect Wi-Fi this year?
I know, right?
It's not 2019. Like, what are you walking into? So
it's
Beth,
my son. I think we've got Thomas the Train on in the background on.
It's okay.
Wi-Fi.
It's okay. So retail. So how much retail sales are you doing in a month at a location?
So we have one location open. The second one is about to open. So we right now are doing anywhere from like 8 to 10K a month.
In retail sales?
Yes.
And what's that generally mean in profit? I know it could depend, but like just to help studio owners understand what that really means, what's the take home on that? Oh, she froze in a smile though. She froze in a smile. 2 smiles. I can't do that. When I freeze, my screenshots are like this. All right, Beth, you there?
I don't know what's wrong.
It's
okay.
all right. What's
Did
the
you
take
ask
home
about
on
profit?
that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been really I've been really disciplined with markdowns and not taking them, and like just anyways, long story short, we make like right around 50, probably anywhere from like 48 to 52 points on it, depending on what the competition is.
60K a year just on retail and profit. That just goes bottom line. That allows you to help afford probably a couple employees, really. So that's fantastic. So guys, everyone listening too, these are all the different ways to make money in the business. It's fantastic when you sell the burger, but it's really great when you sell the fries and the shake and the what's the thing that McDonald's sells? The apple, was it apple pie? Is it just apple pie, all that stuff. So for Justin and Jill, do you guys do retail sales as well?
Not very well.
No, we're going to be talking to Beth after this one, because we could definitely.
The magic of the community, though. That's the magic. So just so you know, the groups that I'm a part of, I'm a part of a few different groups like LRVT, but obviously from my world. And the groups that I'm a part of, I get a lot of value from the coaching and the mentoring and the resources. But where I get most of my value from is what you just said. Like I go, oh, wow, they're really good at that. I want to get with them. So, I mean, Beth, I'm sure that you could pick up some really good things from Jill and Justin, and I think you guys can pick up some really good things from Beth and Hey Jin, who are really good at retail. So, and I see you guys have nice shirts. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah, you go ahead and get that 2020 Wi-Fi set up. We're good. Because Jill and Justin, it looks like you have good outfits. I see what you guys are wearing. So is it that you guys are offering retail and not selling it, or is it that you're selling it but poorly? I'm assuming you just have it up there, but you're not really selling it. It's more of an offer.
It's both of those things. It's not really where either of our passions are, I would say, and it just is one thing that we don't focus on. We focus on members and creating member experience and engagement and additional services when it comes to the members, not necessarily the apparel. So
can I challenge that for a second?
Yeah.
If you went into what's a grocery store near you? Do you have a Whole Foods or something you go to?
We do. Yeah.
Okay. If you go in there and you see 4 people hanging out and they're all wearing your T-shirts and your outfits, but they don't work for you, they're members, how do you feel?
Feel good.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so it's not that it's not your passion, you just haven't sold it. So it feels good to have your stuff out there. It feels really, really good. We just got to get it out there. We got to get it on more bodies, right? And then on top of that, we make more money off of it too. And here's the thing: I'm going to buy a shirt anyway. I'm going to buy clothes anyway. Every year, I'm buying some different stuff, no matter what. So, what better than to buy the shirt? I mean, it feels good to work out at the gym wearing the shirt that they represent. Like, it kind of feels good doing that. I like it. When I go to an F45, I'm wearing an F45 shirt. It feels good. If I go to an Orange Theory or Mountainside Fitness, I like where it feels good. I feel like I'm part of it. So, I think what Beth has realized, it's probably not. Beth probably didn't grow up going, I can't wait to sell retail one day. I bet you anything that was never a passion of hers.
I actually did.
Of course you did, Beth.
I know. I'm like, Mike, you may not even know this about me. So I feel like I'm coming clean to all of Loud Rumor Universe. But before I owned my studio, I was a buyer for 2 major national department stores for 15 years. And I started working in retail when I was 14. But anyone can do it. Like, there's not a secret sauce.
Do this. At
Yes.
GSD Con, which Justin and Jill, you guys were at GSD Con, right?
We
Last
were.
2 years, yeah.
There.
I grew up having absolutely zero interest in selling retail. But how many people were in GSD Con shirts on the second day?
Yeah, everybody.
Tons.
Everybody. It was like 98% of the room, right? And because what I do have a passion for is my company and what it does and how it serves people. And I believe in the mission of GSD and what that does as well. And I know that you guys, just talking to you, all three of you, you all believe very strongly in your brand and what it represents and what it stands for. And so it's not about selling clothes. It's about getting people more engaged with that brand. That's really all it is. And the cool thing is, along the way, your company's able to profit for it. And with those profits, you're able to do more for those people because you can upgrade your studio, you can hire better staff, you can open more classes, you can bring in better clothes because you can justify the cost, right? So there's just, sales is the fuel that builds the business. So even just waters, like, I know this is crazy. This is how much is this bottle of water? Like $3? I feel like it looks expensive. I don't know how much you paid for it, but if you were to have water set up, and I'm sure a lot of your people bring their own, what do they call those things? Yetis. They probably bring their own things and stuff. But if you were able to have your water set up where you got your sports drinks, you got your water, you got your base water, and you price them accordingly using the decoy effect. And every time somebody just walks in, you just say, hey, you're about to get started. Do you need something to drink? You want me to get you hooked up? That's it. All you have to say is that. If they say, no, thanks, I'm all good, you go, love it. Let me know if you need anything. That's it. Have a great workout. On the way out, hey, do you need some more drink? You need to refuel? That's it. Simple as that. Doesn't have to be much. But an ultimate sales machine, they've proved over an abundance of research studies that just asking gets an average of a 33% increase in sales. Just asking. Cashier, ice or stamps, right? That's why they have, would you like fries with that? Like all those questions, right? So the power of just asking. And then Beth, one of the things that I know Hey Jin did, and I'm assuming you probably do. I shouldn't assume. I learned never to assume anything about Beth, actually. But I'm guessing because you do enjoy the process of selling retail. Do you move around your retail regularly like Hey Jin does?
Absolutely, yes. So I would say, like, you just have to make it exciting. So we will move it around. We have a mannequin. Anything on the mannequin sells. We have face outs where you make little outfits on the top row and then all the merchandise is on the bottom row. We change those out. We always fully accessorize. So even on my mannequin, I'll have her carrying a little sweat towel or, with a hat on or a little pair of matching socks. So making it fun, but also we don't make it pretty. So if I get a UPS box at my house, and we sell some branded, but we sell a lot of brands that you could go to Nordstrom and buy in their shop. They're just choosing to buy it from us because 1, they're there, and 2, they're supporting us. But we will, if I get a giant UPS box, I don't bring it up after hours and set everything and make it look pretty. I bring the UPS box to the studio during the busiest class of the day when I know I have shoppers, because I will literally be selling things. I mean, we've had days where I've sold $1,500 of clothes without ever hanging it on a hanger or steaming it. because they know we don't buy very many. They know, per size, the most I ever would buy is maybe 4 pieces of like a medium or a small. So if they don't get it right then, it's gone. Also, I think just knowing your clients. So like sometimes we'll be taking things out of the box and we'll be looking at who's in that class and going, oh, this outfit looks like Whitney. And I have, Mike, you've been to my studio. So, we have that glass wall where you can look into the studio room. Yeah. Like they'll be out there doing, like planks, like a side plank open to the side. And we're dangling a pair of little $98 leggings. Like, these are for you. Come see us after class. Wow. And it makes it fun.
Yeah. You focus on it. They like it.
What we're taking advantage of right now, I think, Mike talked to me, oh my gosh, on like my absolute worst day of the pandemic when I was like angry at the entire world and angry at Mike and it was rough. It was not a pretty day. But like the one thing I look back and realize, even though my studio was closed for a few months, like I completely missed the boat on setting up a Shopify site and selling my merchandise. Like I went into like dump and burn it land and like put stuff on Poshmark, and I could have sold it to my own clients for full price. So what were people wearing while they were stuck at home? Leggings, pullovers, stuff that we sell. So right now,
money. Some people
going
had
into
extra
holiday,
money.
Yeah, I mean, I could have made like good profit money because a lot of the other places were, like the vendors were. So what we're doing going into holiday, knowing that people are going to be probably not going to the mall at all, or a lot less than they would have in like a prior Christmas season, holiday season. We bought some little things that could double as like teacher gifts or little gifts. So I brought in a candle line that I've always loved. Like we added that to our assortment, and we added just a little line of like kind of waterproof cute bags called Aloha bags that are adorable and, good for throwing in your keys and your sticky socks and your cell phone and running off to Pilates class. So we tried to really think like giftable items, knowing we can save people. There will be someone who's literally like in our studio going, I haven't gotten something for the babysitter yet, or I haven't gotten something for the teacher. And they're going to see a candle and some cute gift packaging, and they're going to buy from us.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, that's awesome. And Beth, Justin.
So continuing to like push the limits of what we can sell. And our new studio has about 600 square feet.
Good? We're good. I think we got it now. Beth, you there? Okay, well,
Yes.
Really quick. That's awesome. I love the attention to the ancillary sales that you can make through retail, because you're right, people do want it. And moving things around is really good too. McKenna and I, we were talking about this. McKenna, let me show me the sign, the take a picture sign. So one thing we forget to do often, once we finish making a video for YouTube, is we forget to take a picture for the thumbnail. And so we hung this up. And then, of course, if you don't move it, you don't even notice it. It's like a picture you hang on the wall and you stop noticing it.
Yes.
And so we have to keep moving it. And we have to because if you don't, then we forget that it exists. We forget to take pictures, which we just did again last week. So, yeah. Justin and Jill, let's take it to you guys. 140% month over month. How much of that would you say has come from a focus on referrals? I know that's one thing that we've really talked a lot to the team members about is referral. Oh, wow, look at the camera angle. Looks like all three of us are like this in the sky. Yeah. So really quick, have you guys focused heavily on referrals?
So let me take that for a moment. Jill probably has a piece of this as well. So in that month where we increased 140% month over month, I like to say, again, kind of back to what Jill said before, luck favors the prepared. So a lot of the work that we've done really over the last year and a half with ourselves, our team, with Loud Rumor and Eric Russell, kind of, culminated in having some luck that month, quite frankly. And so we were able to take advantage of, unfortunately, some other surrounding studios in the area that were shutting down. And having that event, being prepared for that, having our sales team prepared for that, helped us be a lot luckier, right? But one of the things that was a part of that was referrals, and I put a lot of the favor on Jillian, because she got word about some of that and started talking to some of these other studio members from another location, and the word spread like wildfire, right? So in that way, Mike, that was really, one person, that one conversation turned into, I don't know, 15, 20 new members, potential members coming in the door all at once. I mean, it was a huge thing for us. And a lot of that goes to Jillian and her kind of that one conversation she started.
So Jillian, let's talk about that. Walk me through the mindset you had going through that. What were you thinking, and like what were the questions you were asking yourself to get there? Because I think one of the things we talk about is the questions that you ask yourself can lead you either down the wrong path or down the right path. So an example is, why is this happening to me? You'll still come up with an answer to that. It's just not the helpful answer. Or how come this isn't working? Or why is this working this way? Or why won't this just happen? All those are really bad questions, right? Great questions like, what's one thing I could do right now that if I do it, everything will start working the way it needs to, or we'll start winning, or whatever. So Jill, what questions were going through your head at that point, and then how did you get to that solution?
Yeah, I actually am so excited that you asked me a mindset question. That is something that I've been working my butt off on as much as I possibly can. So yeah, one thing I've read 1.5 million books to help with mindset and to figure out why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. The one thing is obviously, a great book. If you haven't read that one yet, I'm sure it's all over Loud Rumor page. So I'm sure everybody's read it by this point in time. If you haven't, then go read it. So yeah, for me, it really comes down to having a positive mindset and knowing that every person that I call is a potential person that I get to change their life. So that's really what I started this whole thing for, was to make sure that I could change people's lives and get them healthier and get them stronger, especially in a time of COVID now. So every person that I talk to, okay, do you have anybody else who you want to bring in with you? Is there anybody else who could need this or who needs this right now? Who do you have that I can call and I can talk to? So it really is just saying, okay, this person, I know that they know 3 or 4 more people who need this as well. So if they're having a great experience with me, then why wouldn't their friends and their family want to come join us as well?
Right. One of the phrases that we're talking a lot about now, and you're going to hear it more and more in team, is the phrase infinite return. And we're really working on getting this more out there because we're realizing that there's studios that we're working with that are really mastering this part. And infinite return lies in the concept of, if you close a referral at, let's say, a 33 to 50% close rate, which probably it's higher, right? But let's say 33% close rate, but you can get every member that buys with you to get you 3 referrals or more. Well, then it's an infinite return, meaning let's say you got a certain amount of leads that equaled to 10 paying members. You got 10 members. If each of them gave you 3 to 5 referrals, call it 3, right? You're getting 30 referrals. If you close just 1/3 of those, you get another 10 members. But if you can get each of those 10 new members to get you 3 referrals, you got another 30 leads, and that keeps going. It's an infinite return off of the initial investment. And I've noticed more and more, like Matt Kafora is one of the guys. He's already at 100,000 monthly recurring revenue for 7 locations back after COVID, but that's the biggest strategy he had as well. And I think that's what you guys are doing really well too, is just going, how do we turn one into many every single time? Not half of the time, not some of the time, but every time. How do we turn one into many so that there's infinite return? Make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So let's go. I want to go to Beth, Justin, and Jill here. So if there's one strategy that you're executing right now that you're like, this is the last thing I would drop. If you told me don't drop, this would be the thing I'm most scared to drop. If you told me to stop doing this one thing, what would that thing be? Because there's a lot of things you guys are doing right. But imagine if you could, I said you have to stop doing this one thing, it'd be the worst. You'd be like, anything but that.
For me, I'd say stop advertising, stop marketing. That's the one thing. Like we're still not up to where we were pre-COVID, pre-shutdown back in March. We're fighting our way back. And there's still a lot of fear out there in the general public domain, and so it's a constant battle day to day. And it's tempting to say, okay, well, where do we cut, resources? Where do we, cut back on our spending? And that's one area where we've held the line. We're like, we're not backing off of that. We're not back. We've done that before. And we see how that impacts us, and it slows us down, and it takes so much time and energy and extra effort to restart that engine. So yeah, that's for me. That's the one thing
I
I've
would
decided.
say I'm probably there too. We had can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I had an agency owner. I'm part of age, just like you guys are part of fitness studio groups. I'm part of agency groups. I had one of them reach out to me, and they're like, "Man, so what are you doing? Are you just kind of like holding on and seeing what happens?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, I'm in the group more than I've ever been in my life, and I just raised my budget by 5 times the amount. They're like, "You 5x your marketing budget?" I go, "Yeah." They're like, "How do you like?" Members are like pausing. I go, "Yeah, that's why." Like, I have a leaky bucket. I need the bigger the hole is at the bottom of the bucket. While I'm working on patching it, I still need to make sure I've got more water coming in ratio, in proportion to that. So yeah, I think that's really good. Beth, what would you say?
I mean, definitely advertising. We have our second location opening in a couple of weeks, and we're spending, my company's a little over 3 years old, and we're spending more money on all forms of advertising right now than we ever have in our 3-year history.
Wow.
Digital, print. I've got a team out like pounding the pavement right now with like local business partners. So just, we're going to market no matter what.
This is how professionals and winners think. It's not, oh man, things are getting hard. Let's freeze everything. It's, all right, things are getting hard. Let's go right into it hard. Danny Farrar from Soldier Fit. I'm so mad that this didn't make the interview. Of course, he said something awesome after we're in the hallway after we finished the GSD show, and we're talking, and he goes, "Yeah, you got to be the buffalo." And I go, "What's that mean? What do you mean be the buffalo?" And he showed me he had buffalo tattoos on his hand, and he said, "You know that cows and buffalo react very differently when there's a storm coming?" I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, when there's a storm coming, a really bad storm, all animals can sense it. Cows can sense it, buffalo can sense it. When all the animals sense it, the cows especially, we're just comparing them to buffalo, they run in the opposite direction. So if the storm's coming from the east, they're running the opposite direction, going west, right? And they're just wanting to get away from it. What happens is that storm continues to eventually catches up to them, and then it stays with them longer because they're going with it. The buffalo, wherever they sense a storm coming from, they head immediately right into that storm because they know that if they go into it, they'll get out of it and on the other side much faster, and they'll get better at learning how to deal with the storms because they're dealing with it head on. So, and I had to fact check that, and I went on YouTube and I did like buffalo storms, and it's true, buffaloes go right into the storm. And so I think professionals in business and anything, whatever, but I think when they get adversity, instead of going away from it and running away from it and hiding, they go, all right, this way, go. And we just hit it head on because you get better at dealing with those storms down the road. And obviously you get through it much, much better and faster. So I love that, Beth. And
it's
Jill,
also, I just wanted to say an interesting thing about the advertising is the perception that it puts in your local community, because we're all seeing this across the country. I think I have a little list on my iPhone of now 7 studios that I'm aware of that are within a 3-mile radius of mine that either were not able to reopen or have reopened and now since permanently closed. And so that we're opening a second location and we're advertising everywhere. We have people calling us who, we all have been in studios where that those people become your family, the trainers become your friends. Like, to lose that sense of community when they're looking to find a new one, they want to know something's going to be there. So when you're out there advertising and projecting strength, even if it's a day that you don't feel like it, you're building your community for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's done the same thing for us.
They want a home.
Yeah. They want a voice, so I think that's really, really good insight. Jill, what about you? So we got 2 advertisings. You got something different, something fresh? What would you be afraid to drop?
I'm gonna put something fresh out there just because advertising was said twice. So and it's gonna circle back around to what I said in the beginning. It's investing in your team and your staff, because you can do all the advertising in the world, but if your staff doesn't know, or if you don't know how to deal with the inflood of leads that you've gotten coming in, if you don't have a process in place to take them from lead to sale, then what's the point? You're going to spend all this money and you're just going to say advertising doesn't work because you can't convert them.
Yeah, I love that. There's actually this, so a big mistake that I made years back, and I've gotten better at it as I've learned this lesson. And I think everyone watching can hopefully get a lot out of this too, because it was big for me. Was I was, and like you guys, because I've seen you guys work, I was constantly learning, whether I was reading books, listening to podcasts, watching videos, getting coaches, getting mentors, whatever it was. I was wanting so badly to be successful that I was eager to get information and learning as much as I could. But what happened was, when I wanted something done in the business, whether it was creating sales scripts or whether it was a marketing strategy or video concept or whatever it was, I was always the one that would do it. And the reason I did it was because I knew that it would get done faster and better if I did it versus if I had someone else do it. So I would take on these things, these initiatives, and I would leave them with the medial task that anybody can kind of do, like whatever it is. Well, the problem was I would do that and I would notice that I would never get out of the business. And every time I got into it even more, that gap of how much better I am than my people at those areas got bigger, because now I'm practicing it and they're not. So now not only did I learn it, but I'm practicing it. I'm getting better and better and better. They're staying the same. So now I'm even more likely to do it whenever I have to do it or whenever it has to get done. And now I'm even more likely to get the practice. That gap just keeps getting larger. So one thing I had to realize was, you know what? I'd rather the scenario be they do it 70% as good as me. And then I coach them after they're done on that 30% on, hey, what do you think you could have done to make this or this better? We could have done this as this. Okay, well, what about this? You see that? Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and get that done. Then I coach them on the 10% they still fell short. And then eventually it gets there. But now they're getting the practice on the skill sets, and I'm getting the practice on the leadership, which is really just being there for them. And then be more of a servant leader as well. Because once you get to that point, the ideal scenario is, let's say your sales manager, your studio manager, they come to you guys and they say, hey, Mike, so just so you know, we're 3% shy of our sales goal. Here are the things that we're doing to get over the hump. We're going to do this, this, and this by this date. And now you as a leader can just say, awesome, what could possibly get in the way of you getting there? And now they might say something like, well, right now the internet's been really slow, and because of that, we're going through our leads like at 50% the speed, and some of our calls are dropping. So that could hurt us. Got it. Now, as a servant leader, I'll take care of that for you. You just do what you have to do, execute the plan. I now go to my person who's going to take care of that. Hey, internet's slow. We need to get that up. It's killing sales. That would be the ideal situation. So, but we'll never get there without Jill's point of you've got to train and develop your people and invest in them so that they're actually leading those initiatives and you're more serving them to make sure that there's nothing in their way. Awesome. I love that. I love that you said that, Jill, because if you said advertising, I don't know what to say after that. It'd be like, all right. So very good. When it comes to sales, because you guys are marketing, you're spending money in advertising. I just talked to somebody on the phone on Zoom. Hopefully she's listening, because what I said to her, you guys may have heard me said this. I asked her if 100 pounds, does she think that's heavy or light to bench press? And she said, well, it depends. I go, right, it depends on the person lifting. If they're stronger, if they're a Mac of 4, they're warming up with one hand, right? And if they're my son who just turned 14 today, he's like crushing his chest, right? So everyone's a little different. And so the same thing with leads. The leads are the leads. Really what helps a lead feel like more quality or less quality is the quality of the salesperson, not necessarily the lead. The person that's stronger in sales and process and flow and referrals can get a lot more out of a lead than somebody that's lacking that. So for you all, Beth, let's start with you. Do you have a sales process that your team understands and sticks through, and what's your emphasis on sales processes in your business?
Yes. So we are at an exciting time. The first, 9 months, 10 months we were open. I did everything myself because I couldn't afford to hire anyone. And then the fun thing is the person that I hired that end of the first year we were in business has now been promoted twice. And she just got promoted to be general manager over both of our studios last week. So
she's watching.
I did that by what we called it in my retail career was when you literally sit and learn at the knee of the person in front of you. And we would just sit together all day long and like just do everything together so I could just impart all of not just my wisdom. I don't have wisdom, but wisdom I've learned from reading, wisdom I picked up along the way.
Now's not the time to be humble, Beth, when you're on the show highlighting your strengths.
I know, but I have no sale. Like I learned everything about sales from like what was Loud Rumor University. I had no sales background before this, so that part is something I've had to really work on. So I passed on everything I knew to her. She had her own insights she brought in from her prior career before doing this, and then we have just in the past like 2 months hired someone to work under her as our, like we're calling it, our membership sales coordinator. So now that person is the one out there who's the front line, calling the leads and doing all the things that she learned. So process is everything. I love it when I open the door, the office door at the studio, and I can just hear her, whether it's countering an objection or closing the sale or talking about the studio. Like, I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I would have said. Like, that's exactly, or it's better than what I would have said is really what you want to see.
So what's her name? The person that got promoted?
What was the question?
What's her name? The person that got promoted?
Oh my gosh, it keeps cutting out every time you ask the question. Third time's the charm.
What's the person's name? The one that got promoted.
Robin.
What's her name? Robin? Congratulations, Robin. Hopefully you see this.
Yay, Robin!
All right, Jill, Justin, let's go to you guys. Now, you guys have had more sales training, more various ways, because the first time I met you, I was actually asked to come out and speak to you guys. And did I have Jill? Did you come up on stage with me?
She did.
That was me.
That was me.
Yeah, it's flashbacks right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3-4 years ago, and we role played. That's the first time we really interacted. And I remember we were role playing back and forth. And then I don't know how long after you joined Loud Rumor, and then after that you joined the team program, which was maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So hopefully, with all of those different unique versions of me and telling you how important sales is, what's your sales process look like, or the emphasis on it? How much do you guys put into that part?
That's an ever-evolving situation, or not situation, but just ever-evolving process where we tweak and fine-tune, and we are starting to impart that on the whole team. We have one specific individual who is our lead in that. Obviously, we picked her up because of COVID, which is an amazing opportunity. Once again, any type of hardship, like there's opportunity in every single hardship. And she came to us. I'd been looking at her. She'd been a member of our team as an instructor for, how long was she with us, Justin?
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. And I was like, man, we need to have her more long-term. So I'd been scouting her. And when we got this sales role, I'd been priming her. And then opportunity came up and we snatched her, and she's doing incredible. So right now she's been with us for 3 months now, Justin, is that correct?
Yeah, she started in early August, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, 3 months, and she's just doing phenomenally. So we're going to keep fostering her, but then eventually get her to start training the rest of the staff on that as well. So everybody has some parts of the sales process. We are actively working to get her. I mean, she's up and running completely autonomously right now. So our next step would be to get the rest of the staff on board and understanding what their role in the sales process is. So everybody knows that it's coming. Everybody knows that it's super important. We're just getting really, really locked solid in one area, and then we'll do that trickle down. So it's crazy important.
You mentioned, so you came and spoke at our franchise owner group meeting 3 years ago. So that was 2017. And that was, I'd actually kind of, started listening to the GSD show and the podcast and everything before that. But that was really kind of the point where we both realized, like, we're like at zero level on sales process, sales training. I mean, prior to that, we had just it was kind of like, if you build it, they will come sort of deal where, hey, things were kind of easy, right? We were sort of a new player in the space, shiny object on the corner. We didn't have to really work very hard in our early days to make sales, right? We were more order takers.
We were all hard.
Yeah, and and like Beth said, it was all us. We were there every day teaching a ton of classes, and everything was us. And it got to the point though where we got flat and we weren't making any progress. There was no growth, and so kind of finally came to that realization. Those paths crossed fortunately for us, and you sort of open, sort of shed light on the fact that, hey, you got to be good at sales in this business, or you won't survive. And so that was a huge turning point for us. It took us a little while to finally come on board with you guys, of course, but but we finally did that 2 years ago. And through that process,
I wasn't good enough at selling you. That's why. How ironic is that?
Yeah, well, we're slow decision makers, I guess. But anyways, so yeah, I mean that has been, sort of the journey though that we've made and come full circle to, having so much of a focus on our sales process and team and people and tools. We're light years beyond where we were just 2 or 3 years ago.
I love it. I love it. One thing that Jill said that I thought was pretty interesting too, and Beth, I think you and I have had this conversation and kind of came to agreement in this in the past as well, is the idea of luck and opportunity and crisis and stuff like that. And I was talking to my team about this the other day. It's funny how your ideologies of things eventually evolve over time as you get older and as you get more involved in things. I remember I used to say things were lucky. People were lucky back when I was a kid, right? In my early 20s. Oh, it's lucky, lucky, lucky. And then eventually I got to a point where my mindset, I was so working on it that I was like, there's no such thing as luck. You make your own luck, right? And now I'm at the point where I believe in luck. I just don't believe in good luck or bad luck. I think that the whether it's going to be good luck or bad luck is going to depend on that particular person. So, and who knows how that'll evolve. But for example, there's going to be people that after this whole thing is said and done, this pandemic kind of, does what it does, and we're in a different phase. There's going to be people that say, man, I was doing so well, and then this pandemic happened, and because that pandemic happened, like everything changed. And if that pandemic didn't happen, it would have been so different, right? And then you're gonna have other people that are successful because of it, and they're gonna say the exact same thing. Man, we were doing so well until the pandemic happened, and then once the pandemic happened, like everything changed. Like if that pandemic didn't happen, everything would have been so different, right? They would say the exact same thing, just one of them's miserable because they're saying it, and the other one's super excited and grateful because they're saying it. And so it just really depends on how we take that scenario, and are we going to make this a good luck circumstance, or are we going to make this a bad luck circumstance? I'll tell you, my wife getting fired for being pregnant twice during that first pregnancy and causing us to basically figure out how we're going to make money and start this company. That's why I didn't have any interest in being an entrepreneur. That wasn't my dream. I was very happy being the best employee at the company I was at. And, but I had to figure it out. And once we did that, yeah, I was, in the beginning, I was like, I can't believe who would fire. So we went to a lawyer. Is that legal? Can you do that? And, it was during the recession and everything felt like it was crashing down. And how could this happen? Looking back now, man, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be in this conversation with you guys today. We would have never started the company. I was very happy being a great employee for a good company, right? So it's pretty interesting how, we handle the circumstances that we're given, and are we going to make this thing the thing that makes us fail, or is it going to be the thing that propels us? So obviously you three have turned this into something that propels you, and that's really, really awesome to see. So Justin and Jill, you guys are with Referrals, and you guys are in Minnesota. What's the long-term plan for you guys? 3 years from now, what's your world look like?
You want to do it, Justin? You go ahead.
To take it all over. No, yeah. So ultimately, our grand vision is that, we've built up such an amazing team of people who are running the studios day to day that we can kind of get our step above that, step out of that. And, and maybe that looks like we have multiple locations, either in the Twin Cities or somewhere else. I think Jillian shared her vision of being in an RV and traveling while she's running, something like that. But who knows? Who knows? But having that flexibility to be able to, have a team that we fully entrust to run the business, and I'm not saying like we're not involved, but providing that leadership such that we can, either grow within the brand or, add additional types of other business interests, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of part of our vision, part of our strategy. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
That's the idea of not running a business, but owning a business that runs, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a fantastic dream, and that should be the dream of everyone. You start a company, and you build great processes, you build a team of great people to run those great processes and make them better, and get out of their way. People like running a company. It's really exciting for them too. The leaders that you bring on board like running a company. So you don't have to be the leader of the company. You could just be the mentor and the leader to your leaders at that point, and let them do just a better job than you probably do.
And I think it's one of the things we were talking earlier before the call today, that it took us a long time to realize that we can only take this thing so far. We can only impact so many people with us doing it all. And it just we're slow learners, I guess, but we finally came around to the fact that we've got to change and evolve ourselves so that we can empower those folks to do what what they can do and they can become.
Bezos didn't have hundreds of thousands of employees and he was just doing it all. Amazon would be like Amazon.net. No offense to the .netters out there. There's nothing wrong with the .net. Beth, let's go to you really quick, Beth.
Yeah.
So 3 years. What's the future look like?
Yeah. So I think you kind of touched on it earlier. Someone once either heard it or read it that if you have a business and you're doing everything yourself, you have a job. And if you have a business and you have a team that is running it for you, you own a company. So I would say, like right now with our second location opening, I am in a position where I'm transitioning from job to company. And it's really exciting. So hopefully 3 years from now, we'll bring more locations, a bigger team, and just continuing to embody our Beyond Pilates brand every day, but also taking it to more neighborhoods and more communities, and then getting to the point where if I wanted to sell, I could. I mean, that's the goal.
I love that.
It doesn't mean I have to, but it means I want to have offers coming in 3 years.
One option.
A want to life than a have to life. Yeah. And here's the thing, what's even better when you build a business the way you just described, everyone, including you and your employees, none of you have a job. You all have a career, right?
Yes.
Because your career is as an investor and a business owner. Their career might be as a successful studio manager running locations. Another one might be successful head coach and changing lives and getting people to be better and do things they weren't able to do until they joined your studio. That's more of a career. It becomes a job when you're like, well, I get $1 more an hour if I go here. And if I go there, I do that, and I'm doing the bare minimum to keep my job. But the way you're talking about building your business, where you're letting your people lead and you're empowering them, everyone gets a career, and that's the idea, right? Because not everyone's designed to be a business owner.
Yeah,
What's that?
And in our company, we've offered profit sharing since the second year we were in business. As long as you were there the entire fiscal year, we share, and that's like just a carrot to incentivize longevity, but also just doing a great job every day.
Awesome, Beth. Well, Beth, Justin, Jill, I'm going to end this for a few reasons. Number one, because I feel like anything after this is just going to be a part 2, and we should probably have that one day. Also, because I know you guys are busy and you have to go. And lastly, importantly, because McKenna's dancing over here because she's got to go to the bathroom. I'm calling that out, McKenna. I see you doing the thing. Yeah. So for everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Beth, Jill, Justin, thank you so much for being on and sharing so much. Much more success to you guys in our group, in our program, and in your business. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.